It was the most anticipated day in our family in years, my granddaughter Emily's wedding. The whole town of Willow Creek knew about it. She had been dreaming of this day since she was a little girl twirling around in my living room in a pillowcase veil and plastic heels, pretending to be a bride. And now, she was all grown up, radiant, and ready to marry the love of her life. As her grandmother, and the person who practically raised her after her parents passed away when she was just 10, I was deeply invested in making her big day as special as she always imagined. The ceremony was to be held in the garden behind an elegant estate on the outskirts of town. Strings of fairy lights were draped between old oaks, soft music played from a live quartet, and tables were decorated with ivory roses, golden cutlery, and handwritten place cards. I had spared no expense. After all, this was the child I loved more than anything in the world. When her parents, my only son and daughter-in-law, died in that awful car accident, I promised myself I'd give Emily the best life I could. That included a fairy tale wedding. I arrived at the venue in a navy blue dress and a modest pearl necklace, the same one I wore at my own wedding 50 years ago. My heart was brimming with emotion as I walked through the garden, taking in every little detail I'd worked so hard to arrange. The air smelled of fresh roses and something sweet baking in the distance. Guests had begun arriving, laughter echoing through the yard. Some people nodded at me politely, others waved and smiled. I walked over to the reception area to find my name card, eager to take a seat and rest my aching knees. That's when I saw it. A small, white card placed elegantly on a gold-rimmed plate read in cursive, Eleanor Johnson, the old lady who's paying for everything. At first, I thought it must be a joke. Maybe a mistake. Maybe someone else wrote it by accident. But then I noticed the laughter at the table next to mine. Emily's friends, sipping mimosas, snickering and whispering while glancing in my direction. One of them, a tall brunette I'd met before, leaned in and said with a smirk, "You've got to admit, Eleanor, it's kind of iconic." I stared at her, stunned. My face burned as I carefully picked up the card and read it again. I felt a tightness in my chest, not from anger, but from something deeper. Hurt, confusion, embarrassment. I had invested not just money, but my heart into this day. I drained most of my savings for the venue, the food, the dress, even the honeymoon. I didn't mind, I never had. Emily was everything to me. But to be reduced to a punchline like this? A joke? I glanced toward the house, where Emily was getting ready. I wanted to ask her, did she know about this? Did she approve it? Was this how she saw me? Not as her grandmother, her guardian, her family, but just as the bank that funded her special day. I sat down quietly, the place card still in my hand. More guests arrived, and the chatter grew louder. I forced a smile and nodded at people I barely knew. Inside, though, I felt like I was crumbling. I had spent the past year tirelessly planning every detail, hiring vendors, writing checks, negotiating contracts, sewing little decorations by hand. I'd even picked up a part-time job at the library to cover last-minute expenses. And yet, somehow, I was the old lady who's paying for everything. Just before the ceremony began, I excused myself and went inside the house. I walked down the hallway toward the dressing room. A young woman was holding a curling iron, carefully putting the final touches on Emily's hair. Emily looked stunning. Her dress sparkled under the soft lights, and her eyes glowed with excitement. "Grandma," she chirped when she saw me. "Is everything okay?" I hesitated, then smiled gently. "You look beautiful, sweetheart." She grinned and twirled. "Do you really think so?" I was so nervous about the dress. "But everyone says it's perfect." "It is," I said softly. "But, honey, can I ask you something?" She tilted her head. "Sure." I pulled the place card from my pocket and handed it to her. Emily read it, then laughed. "Oh, that." "Yeah. Brandon thought it'd be funny. He said we should keep things light and playful. You know, not too stuffy." I thought it was kinda cute. I stared at her, my heart breaking a little. "So, you knew?" "Of course," she said, still smiling. "It's just a joke, Grandma. You always say you don't like being the center of attention." We thought this would be her way of blending in while still being acknowledged. I tried to understand, to accept that maybe her intentions weren't cruel. But her tone, so casual and dismissive, made me feel smaller than I had in years. "Emily," I said quietly, "do you know how much I love you?" She stopped smiling then, sensing something shift. "Of course I do. Do you know what I gave up to make this day happen?" Her face softened. "Grandma, I sold your grandfather's car. I gave up the trip to Italy I'd been planning for my 70th. I pulled out most of my savings because I wanted you to have your dream wedding. And now I see this, and I wonder if all I've become is a wallet to you." Tears welled in her eyes. "I didn't mean for it to come across that way. I'm so sorry. I thought it was funny. I didn't think." "That's just it," I said gently. "You didn't think." She stepped forward and hugged me tightly. "Please don't leave. I can fix it. I'll change all the name cards. I'll talk to Brandon. I didn't mean to hurt you." I held her for a long moment, letting the weight of it pass through me. Then I nodded. "Let's just get through today. We'll talk later." The ceremony was beautiful. Emily and Brandon exchanged heartfelt vows beneath a canopy of flowers. Guests wiped away tears as they kissed. Laughter and clapping echoed through the garden. I sat quietly at my table, the card turned face down on my plate. No one else mentioned it. Maybe they didn't care. Or maybe they didn't know how to look me in the eye. After dinner, Emily took the mic and thanked everyone for coming. Then, unexpectedly, she asked me to come up. I hesitated, but she insisted. I walked slowly to the front, unsure of what to expect. "This woman," Emily said, her voice trembling, "is not just my grandmother. She's my everything. She raised me when I had no one. She taught me how to be strong and kind. She made today happen, not just by paying for it, but by shaping the person I am." And earlier today, I made a joke that hurt her deeply. A joke that I see now as thoughtless and selfish. "I am so sorry, Grandma. You deserved better." The crowd was quiet. Some people nodded. A few looked away, embarrassed. "I want everyone here to know," she continued, "that I would be nothing without her. So, if we're going to label her, let it be this: Eleanor Johnson, the woman who gave me a future." Applause erupted. I stood frozen, overwhelmed. Tears streamed down my face. Later that night, as the dancing began and guests mingled under the stars, Emily came to sit beside me. "I replaced the name card," she said, handing me a new one. It read, "Eleanor Johnson, the heart of this family." I smiled, holding it to my chest. We sat in silence for a while, watching the newlyweds dance. I knew things wouldn't change overnight. Youth had its blind spots, and Emily still had much to learn. But in that moment, I saw a glimpse of the woman she would become, grateful, self-aware, and full of heart. And I knew I had done something right. Not because of money. Not because of a grand wedding.